Hello, Internet, and welcome to another Wednesday serial. So this is just gonna be one of those weeks where it's kind of like, so let's just get to it. The movement, because that's what your bowels do after reading it. Okay, this was better than other issues, but at the same time, Batgirl in here, I swear, if I didn't see who it was on the cover, I would have thought they didn't quite nail the character. Something just feels really off about this whole thing. I do kind of want to just pick up the next issue, which I have to anyways, so whatever, that works out, just to kind of see this a little bit end, but this series just doesn't work. I don't like any of the characters. I just really realized by putting Batgirl in here, and it just doesn't, things just do not come together. So, blah. Alright, I want to talk about this doozy of a book. I'm just jumping on. I haven't really read any of the Lantern books since the New 52. I'm going to be catching up on a lot of Green Lantern soon, but I haven't yet. And I just picked this book up out of the blue because this $2.99 flip book thing, I was intrigued. And also it played with something that I've actually been really curious about, and that's why the Super Family isn't more involved with the Lanterns, because it feels like it should all be this big sci-fi DC space thing, and that should be like kind of their corner with a few other different things, like Rebels or Legion or whatever's going on at the time. But this was really confusing to me, and this obviously is a big pull to try to, I imagine, mostly get people onto Red Lantern, but also to try to bring some people maybe back to Green Lantern. It's supposed to be a big pickup book for those kind of trying to find a jump on point for Lanterns. I imagine this is a pretty clever event. I totally bought it. I mean, for $2.99 picking up both, that's pretty darn good, I felt. But the problem is it doesn't feel like it contains story when it should. You get dropped in, and the Green Lanterns are dealing with Supergirl as a Red Lantern. How'd she get the ring? Apparently that's a thing, and there's a lot of limit on the energy or something. I got a feeling like there's a lot of status quo here that I'm lost on. Apparently Jordan asked Guy to be a Red Lantern, and Guy did it? That seems weird to me. And Guy's mustache is wigging me out. But what's also weird to me is the Red Lanterns mostly talk, like they're actually characters now, which I kind of figured would happen with the Red Lanterns eventually, but I didn't get that feeling when I first picked up the New 52, so I'm glad that changed. Like, I don't necessarily understand the how or why, and I also, that's something I don't care if they explained or not. Like, they need to be characters in order for them to sell a book. Red Lanterns, fine. I'd rather have characters than bleeding, gum-drooling automatons that are just angry. That's not interesting. That's not interesting at all. So I don't care. They're characters. Great, whatever. I don't care. But there's some weird inner politics stuff that's slightly touched on here, but not explained at all. Nobody knows who Supergirl is. What? 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 Really? No. They have to know. She's been around since the beginning of this whole deal. And she just got a red ring after existing. I mean, she's been part of Superman events and stuff. I mean, she has to have been seen. That makes no sense to me. But it's cool that the idea of the Lanterns knowing about Krypton being like, ooh, that's a big deal. Although it is kind of interesting that our Earth Lanterns know because of Superman, but they kind of mention that like other lanterns are like Kryptonia. Where's that? No, it's Krypton. Blah blah blah. So this was kind of interesting and got some character interplay, but there's some subplot stuff I had no clue about. This thing, like, I just felt like I was diving in and I got a bunch of questions, and for me this is kind of disappointing that it was so confusing and it didn't give enough. I mean, I'm not huge on expository dialogue, but sometimes there's more clever ways to work it in, kind of, especially because they have a moment between Jordan and Guy that is a huge, and Gardner, is a huge part of the book. One of them. And they're just kind of jabbing it, and they're clearly reconnecting. And if they're trying to bring on new readers, like, this is a time to kind of drop a line or two about what the fuck's going on. And they don't. And this is why I hate picking up books in the middle of nowhere. Because I am just so lost, and I have so many questions, it's completely kind of ruining my enjoyment. I know some people like doing that and diving in. For me, I've only missed about, but I mean about 25 issues, and I have a few light beats on what's going on from watching reviews and whatnot. And this is just, what happened? Like, the tone, the feel, everything's just different from the way I remember Lanterns. And not that different's bad, but I'm just so confused. I'm like, in order for me to keep reading, I have to go back. And I don't know how far, I don't know when, I don't know. It's just one of those things like, that's not fun for me. I want to just read a story. And so, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. And before I continue, I want to point out, there's an ad here this week for a book this week, which was always something that weirded me out about comics. Like, I was just at the comic shop. Now I need to go back. No, ads need to be 3 months ahead now, but okay. So the ad reads, Hal Jordan versus Guy Gardner with the fate of Sector 21814 in the balance. Not really. That's something that almost seems like it's going to happen, that totally doesn't, and they're totally cool with each other. So, and then, will Supergirl joining the Red Lanterns determine the Earth's future? They don't know it's Supergirl, and determine Earth's future? What? None of that's talked about in that book. What? I mean, that sounds interesting, and hopefully they get to that story soon. But the decompression, I mean, it's technically 2 issues, and they don't even fully establish the characters know each other. It doesn't add up. What the hell? So let's talk about a book that does everything right. Green Arrow 28. Now, I'm willing to bet you, if you hear any criticism, probably from someone named Phyllis Travis, maybe not, yeah. He's gonna complain, only him, in the entire world, no one else. Okay, probably a lot of people might like it too. There's some Diggle action in this book. They bring in the B-Diggle, and for no real reason, it seems so far. But yeah, that's totally he's in the show, so he's in the book. Ah. So DC editorial gets their 2 crappy pages. And in the meanwhile, there's this whole play with Ollie's father, and he just doesn't believe it. Then he believes that he's his father due to a only his father could know sort of thing. And then his father's going on about this whole thing. He's like, you're not my father, you're a madman! And just and then And then just fucking this layout happens. Just, this is expository mixed in with a battle, mixed in with, look at the comic fucking books, DC, like, yes to this. I mean, obviously you don't want that kind of layout every time, but if that was aped a little more for that kind of a situation, it's a really strong device. I mean, seeing two characters in a struggle and, like, them kind of each having their own page, and then in the background is, like, just panel after panel of pages of, like, what would be a simple fight and kind of just be ho-hum, but just that composition, then with the expository laid over it, like, that is just awesome design. And it's totally just taking, like, two general comic book layout things and just mixing them together in the whole, you know, 2-page spread with the, like, really explosive, like, small panel after panel for action. Taking those two ideas and just, like, boom, here you go, and the color scheme to match, and just, like, that's awesome! And then you get the color of this totem arrow, and it looks special, but Ollie's like, it's just a fucking arrow, what the frick? And then you have more crazy battle layouts and stuff builds, but then you get, like, this layout, which isn't as impressive as the last one, which is, like, the best page in comics, like, all month at the very least. Like, it just, that's awesome. I mean, you're just seeing the words, but I mean, the action is interlaid in there. Like, that's awesome. I mean, this is just how the pages look. Like, I'm just talking about layouts, and then they have ways of, like, so they have the Arrow Clan versus this huge monster, and there's just this little bit here where you see the thunk, and then it zooms in, which is something that's been used before, but that feels so brutal. You're like, oh, that looks like it hurts. Like, you actually cringe at a static page. Like, doesn't feel static when you're looking at it, though. And then they have this cool moment of setup between the Fist Clan. I love that. Like, they have all these weapons. These people, their bodies are the weapon. Yes! More of that. Fuck Lantern books. Give all the different fighting clans, like, a book and have a martial arts showdown. Yes to that. And just, there's this crazy bit with fist beats spear every time, and then you get this little thing where you see, like, the impact, and it's like the Bruce Lee, like, 1-inch punch, like, huh, bam, and just shatters. Just, yes, like, there's impact and weight. I mean, there's lore being built in that action. It's just an awesome action sequence. It just looks cool. Like, that's just riveting and exciting, and just, oh man, this issue, like, may not get everything, but if you're thinking of looking at Green Arrow, pick up this issue, because this is the best, like, book that's come out all month. Probably will. The dang best issue in a long time. Like, this is awesome. This is definitively the best thing DC is publishing by far now, which is great, because they took a book that just sucked, had some things they want to do with it, and they're letting it happen. The editorial's still tweaking in their shit, but the shit can't bring it down. Just a little. Oh, yes to Green Arrow. And then, you know, Five Ghosts Night is pretty good too. We've been seeing the ghosts, but finally we get to kind of see a little bit of the man they inhabit, and cool stuff. So, Lazarus continues, but my biggest problem with this book just keeps rattling in my head. And that is, if, like, 99% of the population was ruled by dicks, those dicks would be dead. I know they have one super soldier, but I mean, it would be like Captain America trying to fight all of America. It just doesn't register. It doesn't work. The balance doesn't fit, so it makes everyone's motivations seem weird to me, so I just can't get it, I guess. I don't know. And then there's Apocalypse Owl, which I thought, I'd try an image #1, but this is just Strunsky at his worst. He's kind of playing on his Midnight Nation walkie bit a little bit in here. It's very end of the world, but you have this quirky girl with all these quirky things, and there's a joke about shoes, so it's written for women, right? Oh, just I know Strunsky's done some good stuff, but this is just burnable. I couldn't actually finish it. A first issue I couldn't actually finish. It's been a long time since I've read something I'm just that to, and not like fascinatingly bad or something. Just do not buy is the thing of the week here. Yeah, fuck comics. So it's been kind of a week of comics, but I hope you all had a better one. I hope you all are picking up a Green Arrow, and I wish you all a merry February, and keep reading and do things with the YouTubes that you do on other videos you'd like. You know the drill. Peace.